Lizzy, can we talk about how the universe has a bit of a villain arc against our podcast right
Oh
now?
my God. I'm furious.
First, last week, we were like ready to go. And then your power cuts out like at the time we're supposed to be recording the podcast.
Literally. I was
And-
completely ready to go. Light flickers. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then it just cut for 4 hours.
And then we just tried to have our intro. It was going to be special because I was going to intro it and I was going to talk about how you've been bullying me about my jorts. And we're going to talk about cyberbullying. It was going to be great. And then the app that we use to record our podcast cuts out again. So third time's a charm. Welcome to the Still Loading podcast.
I can't make this shit up. Literally, you said, Lizzy, we had, and then it cut and it said, it like whatever. I don't even know what it said. And I verbally went, you have to be fucking kidding me. I was so mad and I kept like trying and it wasn't letting me. It was like, how to troubleshoot. And I was like, there's no way this is happening right now. So, but we're here.
We're here. And we're happy to be here. And I'm wearing my Bruce Winless Hey Big Guy merch. And all is good in the world.
What color is it? Is it the beige looking one?
Yeah, it's the beige one. I know my webcam has a bit of a blue tint to it, but it's the beige.
Did we ever tell you about my debacle with my sweater?
No.
My hoodie that I got? Okay, first of all, I'm not even kidding when I say I'm a bit picky about hoodies. And that genuinely is one of my favorite hoodies. Very, very comfortable. I like the material it's made out of. So when you look at all the colors, because I have the hoodie version, when you look at all the colors, there's that one that I was like, oh, maybe I'll get that one. And then there's like this brownish, like almost, I don't want to say taupe because taupe is a bit more purple, I think, but this is like really nice, like brown color. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get that one. That'll be nice.
Sure.
Order it. Get it delivered. I kid you not, it is still a fucking joke that it is green. It is like this, really, it's pretty. It's like this olivey kind of like, maybe it has an undertone of like brown.
Right.
But it is green. Like I sent them an email and I was like, I want a new one. And they were like, nah, can't do that. They're custom made. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Oh
I still love it. Don't get me wrong. Not the color, but every single time somebody sees it now, they're like, oh, I like your green hoodie. I'm like, I know, thanks.
Wait, so they gave you the wrong color?
Oh no, it's the right color. The color that it looks like on the website is very deceiving, I think. I also think, because like Bruce even reached out and was like, hey, like this is not the same color that it like you guys are showing on the website. And they're like, yeah, like we have somebody else who makes them. And sometimes the colors can vary a little bit. And I'm like, that's not a little bit. That is green, not brown. Okay.
Well, and I'm assuming, I don't know if he's using Bonfire or something similar, but like I've used a service like that before. And they just give you like, these are the colors. So you would think that if their service is selling the sweaters in a particular color, that they would at least have like the hexadecimal, like the proper hexadecimal hue for that material.
I just know that I reached out. They told me no. Bruce reached out and went back and forth with them for a while. And basically it was like a no thing. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I still love the hoodie. I wear it all the time. It's very comfortable. I'm happy with it. I'm going to buy myself another one another day because it's very, very cute. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, I can tell you a little bit of the backstory of this real quick because it's very, very, it's a really good story. And I think the whole idea of Bruce's merch is really, really good because it's not just like a picture of Bruce and it being like, I'm Bruce, follow me on Twitch, you know? And for those of you who are just now listening, maybe this is your first one, who we're talking about is our buddy Bruce Winless on Twitch, who's a streamer, recently got merch done. And one of the jokes in his stream is, hey, big guy. And it has to go back to like when he was playing Zelda and he built this big thing and he was like, hey, big guy, come here. And so we started talking about how funny it is to say, hey, big guy. Well, on the shirt, it has a goose that we call Clarence. And then on the front, it says, hey, big guy. And on the back, it says your, what is it? Is it your feelings matter? Or
you matter too.
You matter too. And the whole idea of it is for guys, like, hey, big guy, like you matter too. Your mental health matters. Mental health is not just a woman's thing. Like everybody across the board deserves to be happy and have like support and mental health. So it's really directed at like being mental health conscious across the board, regardless of your gender. And that's kind of where we came up with it. And then of course, like this was like a lot of us. It was me and Bruce, and then Liv made the amazing design for it. And so it's a really special idea behind it.
It's a great sweater, and you know what? I pride myself in having excellent sweaters, and this is definitely one of my favorite newest additions. So yeah,
I have a Alex pullover and t-shirt from that short merch time.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's still open, but
link, and it says Tiny Scoot, and it's really funny because I have this pullover that looks like yours that you have on right now, and I got that one, and my husband got the t-shirt. I'll be honest, I don't know where my sweater is. I wear that t-shirt all the fucking time. I stole that thing so quick, and I wear it with like biker shorts out all the time.
I also lost mine for a while, but then when my wife was in Portugal in May, I ended up like redoing our bedroom. And it forced me to like clean up just the mountain of clothes kind of like in and around her closet. And it was kind of at the very bottom of that. So you got your own merch
back. That's nice.
I got my own merch back.
Something we should talk about sometime soon is I want to make stickers for the Still Loading podcast, but we'll have a conversation outside of this. Let me know if you guys are interested in stickers at any point. I'm like, how cool would it be if I had a sticker on my mic? Alex has a sticker of me on his mic that I made, which is really cool. I made those. I did not get those like made elsewhere. I made those in my house. It's a very long process.
Like a Cricut or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't have it anymore. That's partially why I can't do them myself anymore. But you get a Cricut, and then you have to have like a certain kind of like paper and everything, and I cut them, and that's why there is a very limited amount of people who have them. Like our buddy Bruce, who I've been friends with for a really long time, doesn't have one. It bugs the shit out of him. He's like, when do I get one? I'm like,
never.
I'm not making any more of these. You should find somebody who happened to get more than one and see if you can find a trade to get one, because
barter for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So, but yeah, I was thinking about the other day. I was like, how cool would it have a Still Loading podcast sticker, you know? But all of that to say, super excited to be back after not having the podcast for a week. Thanks for listening into our soapbox of just randomness we just talked about. I think that's also the glory of this podcast, is you just never know where it's going to go. It's kind of just all over the place. But before we hop into our actual topic, have you been playing anything new? I know you're expeditioning.
Yeah, I actually don't think we've had a podcast since I started playing Expedition 33.
That's true. Yeah. That's right, actually. Yeah.
Because I think on the last podcast I was talking about how I'm not going to play it, or like I wasn't going to play it until July. Mm-hmm. And then I went from recording this podcast to a friend's house for something else, and he was talking about how he was like, I think I'm going to download Expedition 33. And then I had another friend text me being like, I just downloaded Expedition 33, and I was like, oh shit. So I ended up downloading it. So I've been playing Expedition 33, and I've been playing Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm going to replay all the Donkey Kong Country before Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out.
Okay.
Because I am so hyped off of that Nintendo Direct they did. But yeah, I'm like a third of the way through Expedition 33. What
act are you in? So we don't ruin it, but like as somebody who's been playing it a lot, I kind of have an idea of where you're at.
I just beat what I think is the first boss in Act 2.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about then.
Yeah.
The faces or the dancing one?
The dancing duelist guy.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about.
I don't know where that sits in progress through the game, but yeah, I've made it through what I think is the first big spoiler, and just waiting for it to blow my mind.
You're still not like 100% in yet?
Well, like it's good. Like the writing's good. The world is really interesting. The characters are all unique. I think as far as like turn-based JRPG gameplay goes, it's fairly like combat is fairly refined and really interesting, and you can do a lot with the character like compositions and character progression. But for a game that's touted as like once in a generation, like game of the year, there's a lot of little things that really bother me about it. A lot of things like the menus in the start, like the start screen, are not always the most intuitive. when I'm equipping like weapons, I can't compare to my current equipment besides like just equipping the two and seeing how it affects my stats.
Yeah.
And like just little things like that I keep on looking at and like, like for instance, if I'm traversing the overworld, which I love that they have overworld traversal, because it's just such a classic throwback. But then the button to open the map and the button to go to camp are both on the D-pad. And you can easily misclick when you're trying to open up the map, and then all of a sudden you're loading into the camp, and you have to. So I've lost minutes of my life just like accidentally loading the camp when I wanted to load the map. And it's just little things like that.
My biggest one that pissed me off was like when you're in the overworld, you get a mini map. Yeah. Anytime you enter something, mini map goes away. And I so many times would get lost going through some of this, and being like, I genuinely don't know if I'm going the way that I just came from or if I'm going back towards where I need to be going. And that was very frustrating because I had a hard time navigating through like the first like small area you go into is like where it's all like underwater.
Yeah.
And like there was so many times where I was like I had to ask somebody like if we were all in Discord, be like, Bruce, Pat, whoever, am I going the right way? Because at this point, I don't really know anymore. Because I've tried to take this little, side road over here to like go find extra stuff, and like now I have zero idea which way I'm going. So that was my biggest gripe. Is I was like, not having like the mini map out there is great. Can I have it? Can I have it back now, please?
Yeah, and I find even just some of the level design stuff, it's not very clear of like where you can walk and where you cannot, because there's like just invisible walls, and some like what you can like climb up and what you can't is not like uniform across like across the game. So while very pretty and very well written and genuinely interesting gameplay, there's just a bunch of little things that keep on taking me out of it.
Yeah.
And maybe my expectations were set too high by literally everyone in the world glazing this game right now. But I'm like, this is a good game. It might be my game of the year, but I don't know that there isn't going to be a game that comes out this year, especially with Donkey Kong Bonanza and Metroid Prime 4 coming out, that can't beat this game.
Oh yeah. No, I think for me, I don't know. I think you need to finish it too.
I will.
Because I think as you get further and more into it, it becomes more and more of like I think for me, the story was really the big hitter for me, and you kind of really start to really get into the story as you go, but it because I don't know, I'm trying to like, I'm fumbling my words a bit because I'm trying to figure out how to say this without like spoiling anything. Yeah. But just like, I feel like the more you go, the more you'll be like, oh, wait a second. And you'll want to know more. And that's what really pushed it. And then by the end, I was like, oh, holy shit. This was a crazy experience looking back at everything. And for somebody who doesn't like turn-based, I really like, that was a big deter for this game for me, is I sat there and I was like, I don't know if I really want to play. I might just watch somebody else play. Turn-based is not my jam. But I ended up loving it. I thought the combat was so much fun, had way more fun with it than I ever thought I was going to.
Well, if you're looking for a game that has similar turn-based mechanics, Paper Mario on the N64, no joke, has very similar mechanics.
What's funny is Paper Mario has been on my list of like games I've wanted to play or wanted to try. So I might do that.
Well, it might be in my top 10 favorite games of all time.
I went into a Target the other day, and there were, for the first time, I ran into Switch 2, and there was like multiples of them. My husband looked at me and was like, you want to Switch? And I was like, nope. We've already talked about this. There's no reason to buy it. My Switch 2 is literally sitting on a shelf back here. I don't need a 2. There's just because it's new and shiny.
I think people genuinely can wait a year with this console. Yeah. Especially with Legends EA. Now, I will say I'm happy with my purchase, and I'm actually going to be going back to a few Switch games that have gotten improvements. Like the Pokemon games, like Scarlet and Violet. Apparently, they run just way better on Switch too. I've seen
that. Yeah.
So I'm going to be replaying those games and getting caught up on my living decks, and I'm going to replay Arceus because I think performance in Arceus really bothered me. So I'm excited about that. There's a lot of stuff I want to do with the Switch 2. However, as far as exclusives go, Mario Kart World, I don't think it right now is as good as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, especially if you have the DLC. And Donkey Kong Bonanza is not out yet, but when that comes out, all of a sudden that's going to be a good exclusive.
Yep.
But I don't know if there's any other exclusives coming out this year that have been announced yet that are like, you must play this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It really was exciting to find one out in the wild, but I was like, there's just not enough games at this moment to make it worth it for me. Like, it just.
Yeah. Have you been playing or watching anything?
Well, the new season of The Bear came out.
Ooh.
And if you have not watched The Bear,
I've not.
Oh my God.
I've had it recommended to me by.
It's on Apple TV. If that's tells you anything.
Say.
Yep.
No.
If you guys haven't heard Alex and I say this enough, Apple TV don't miss. Everything is so good. The Bear is on there. So this is season 4, I think. It's either 4 or 3. Incredible. So we've been flying through that. We did finally watch the first season, and we're in the second season of Squid Games.
Oh, what are your thoughts on Squid Game?
I have enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. I was like, I don't know if I care enough. I don't know if I want to watch it. My husband's like, if you don't watch it, I'm going to watch it without you. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. First episode, I was like, no, I don't think I care. And I was like, but I'll give it a second episode. Like, let me see. Second episode, I was a bit more invested. By third episode, I was like, all right, yeah, let's go. Like, I have to be in the right mindset though, because we're not doing like the English voiceover. Like, we're reading subtitles. So like, typically we watch TV while we're eating dinner and stuff. And I can't do both. I'm like, I'll miss something while I'm like doing something. So like, I have to be in the mindset. I can't be kind of tired because I'll just stop reading. I'll stop paying attention. But so far it's been so good. The problem is The Bear came out, and so we've put it on the back burner to be watching The Bear instead. So as far as shows go, that's what we've been interested in. And then gaming, it's been hard because Expedition really was such like a love of mine.
Sure.
And I'm having a hard time letting go of that world right now. So I've been doing
Dragon Age all over again.
Yeah, a bit. I've been going in and doing like some side stuff here and there. And that is not me. I am not one to go back and once the credits roll, like in my mind, which is beating the last boss, I'm not one to go back into a game and keep playing. I normally call it quits, but I've been going back in and playing because I've just enjoying it too much.
That's awesome.
And then I love fucking weird scuffed multiplayer games.
You do.
With my friends.
That is your like favorite genre of game.
Yep. And so there's a new game called Peak, which I'll be honest, it's not amazing. It really isn't. It's just silly and it's stupid and it's fun and it pisses me off, to be honest. Like, it's very frustrating, but it is fun to play with friends. You literally are climbing a mountain. And really? So you get
Peak is the first of those scuffed games that you've played that has genuinely interested me. Like, not Party Animals, not Repo. This one, maybe because I rock climb.
Maybe.
But yeah,
it's fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's not one that I come on here and be like, you should play.
I won't.
It's fun though. Like, I do think like, yeah, give it a shot if you're interested. It's also $5 on Steam, you know? So it's like, sure. If you're looking for a game to play with a few friends, I wouldn't go play it by myself. I think it'd be extremely hard to play alone because a lot of it is helping. It's like very like, you need to work together to get there. Right. But it's literally, you climb, you get to the top, you get another like peak loads in, and typically it's a different like version. So like the first one is like all sand and like the beach. Second one is
the jungle, right?
It's like a jungle, and then you go on and you go on. In Bruce and I, just the two of us, were playing a few weeks ago, and we made it to like super far in, and we died. And I was like, it was like 4 or 5 levels in, and it took us an hour and 40 minutes. And I was like, I'm done. I won't do it again. That was enough for me. That was so much of my life to just feel like, because it was also like, it wasn't just like, oh, we just died. Like, we literally kind of got like cucked of where we were because it was all like sheetrock and you only have so much stamina to like climb and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have enough energy to go do all of those levels again. There's no way.
Oh my God.
So it's fun, but it's not like Repo, where Repo I could play again and again and again, and I loved it. It was hilarious to me. This one's a bit more like, it's fun, but it's not incredible per se.
Sure.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I'm in a gaming world because, per usual, I get really attached to games and then I go like a little depresso about not having that game to play anymore. Instead, I'm just watching everybody I can possible play the game now.
Absolutely.
So, but on to our actual topic today, which will be our favorite villains. We both have 3 movie ones and 3 game ones.
Okay.
I
might have 4 game ones, but yeah.
That's okay. I have like there's like a few of them that I was like, you know what, these are good like alternatives. So I thought it'd be interesting to go through some of our favorite villains of movies and games, and like, because I mean, we all talk about who's your favorite hero, like, but who are some of your favorite villains? Who do the people you look at and you're like, you know what, I'm a fan. I like the arc. I like the I don't know, whatever it is that makes it your favorite.
Sure.
So let's
what makes
start.
a good villain to you?
I'll be honest, it depends. It really does, because some of these I have different reasons for some of them. Some of them, and you'll see, because I don't think that's one specific thing that makes a villain good to me in my opinion.
Okay.
I think we should start with movies. Do you object?
No, I do not object.
Okay, beautiful. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Absolutely. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Okay. This villain, he gave one of the most iconic movie performances of all time, and he might be the only actor in the world who could have played this part, because you had to be so proficient and so talented of an actor in 3 different languages.
Okay.
4 actually. But that would be Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards, played by Christoph Waltz. He's in the first scene in the movie, and every time he's on screen, he's just so captivating, and he is so great, like such a captivating actor in French, German, Italian, English.
That's crazy.
That like I don't really like care for the other performances in that movie, but I will watch that movie again and again just for Christoph Waltz. So
I would like everybody to know and listen to the podcast, because I'm gonna add this one, that this is our 3rd cut. Okay, so if you hear any of this cut in between, this is the 3rd cut that I'm gonna make later on.
And we're doing this for you.
Yeah, because I promise you, if Alex wasn't here and it was just me, I'd be done. Out. I'm leaving. I'm going outside. I gotta touch the grass because my head's gonna fucking explode, okay?
Just take a lap. Just take a lap of the block.
Literally, the last time it cut, Alex was like, Liz is gonna turn in the hole. I was like, that is what's gonna happen here. My head is gonna explode. I don't like it when things are supposed to be working and they don't, and it's not my problem and I can't fix it. It's one thing if it's my issue, but when it's somebody else's issue, like somebody else's dumb server, not Alex's, I'm talking about the people that we use, like,
yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna turn into Ultron. No, so yeah, I don't know. I think Ultron's pretty cool. He fan favorite.
Yeah, he's really great. Definitely very topical. I'm glad you picked him over Thanos, especially as a comic book nerd, knowing that Thanos did what he did in the comics partially to impress, his crush, makes it a little, yeah.
Didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So at least the movies, Thanos makes him a little bit more like of an ethics problem, but as someone who routinely gets told I'm going to be replaced by a computer by a bunch of grifters, I think
it's a scary thing.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Speaking of scary, my number 2 was also an Academy Award winning performance by an actor whose wife would not sleep with him for months after seeing this movie. It is Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the
Mm,
Lambs.
mm-hmm.
I can't think of a more iconic role. He's on screen for what, like 15 minutes in that movie?
I've
20
never
minutes?
seen it.
You've
I've
never
only
seen
seen.
Silence of the Lambs?
I know what you're talking about because, like, obviously, like I've seen clips. I've seen like parts of it. I have never sat down and watched the entire
Oh,
thing though.
Lizzie, you need to. You need to. It's a really good movie.
Okay, I'll consider it then.
It's like if you, because you kind of like true crimey,
Yeah,
legal, murdery stuff.
yeah,
It's so good.
yeah.
And he's not the only villain in that movie.
Okay.
But he's just chilling.
Uh huh.
I and he's so smart, and I think just he just has such aura about him. Even he had aura before aura was a thing, you know.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And I can't think of a more like iconic villain than Hannibal Lecter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not mad about it. I'll put it on my list. I have a lot of friends who get mad at me, aka that if they suggest something for me to watch, I typically would be like, meh. I take my suggestions from people very, very seriously. And my number one suggestion is I listen to the same podcast every day, y'all. I am obsessed with a Nashville based, it's actually a radio show
Hmm.
that then they podcast, which is Bobby Bones show. Bobby
Yes.
Bones says, I'm watching blah 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 and I like it. I'm like, all right, done. There's been so many times where my friends have been like, you should watch this. And I'm like, Bobby Bones goes, I'm watching blah blah blah. I'm like, damn, we gotta get on this. We'll sit down and watch it. But I think I'll take your suggestions as closely, maybe not quite the same, but very closely to the way I take Bobby Bones suggestions, and I'll watch it.
I think this movie in particular is just like a classic. You know, I watch I watch a lot of film, and there's a lot of films that I love that I'm never gonna make you watch, but this is a good one. This is a good
Okay.
one.
Okay. Okay. Movie. I'm gonna go. Ooh, I have it two that I'm so torn between because I said three each, and I have a few on here. So, I, I I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with the Joker,
Okay.
and specifically Heath Ledger. Okay,
Yes.
because as much as like that story kills me, and like I'm very sad that he is gone. But if you listen to like how much like what is it like method acting he went
Hmm.
into and how serious he got, like one as an actor, like it sucks in what happened to him, but I can like appreciate him like trying really hard to like get in that mind space. But also like you watch it and that whole movie is so good, and the Joker is just so good, and like there's a reason that that is one of the better Batmans in my opinion.
Sure. Christopher
I
Nolan.
think
Yeah.
the Joker is crazy, and he's funny in that one, and I go back and I watch like the Joker like with like Joaquin Phoenix, and like it was good, but I don't know. I think Heath Ledger just did such a good job, and I like that there's like the story behind it is so fucked up of like, oh well, my dad gave me these scars and all of this, but he has it's I don't know. He just has like this like magnetic energy to him where you're like I get where like you start get like the Harley Quinn side of things of like she was in love or not in love or whatever with the Joker of like I could also just see myself just sitting there and like watching him fold in a sense, you know?
Sure. Yeah. I think the Joker has to be like enigmatic and dangerous, and I think he does that very well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, as an avid Batman reader, I've seen many iterations of the Joker, both in comics and in film. And Heath Ledger's, I think, one of the better ones. Um, it's also interesting, like now, whenever you see people do like Halloween costumes, it's always the Heath Ledger Joker. It's not the Joaquin
That too,
Phoenix,
like
right?
it really is very like it I when I saw it and I was like, ooh, that's also a very good one that I feel like because like I'll be honest, I looked through a lot of like articles, like trying to
Yeah.
like jog my memory of like, okay, what other ones are there? And I kept seeing this one. It's at the top of like so many lists, and I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
it feels very like obvious, like a very like easy pick. But I was like, but at the same time, like it impacted so many people of like that being the Joker.
Oh yeah.
And yes, like people do they cosplay that one in particular.
Yeah, and he like when he's on screen, he feels so like unpredictable in a way that I don't think the other Jokers really do. You know, I grew up on a lot of 1990s media. So my favorite Joker is Mark Hamill, but as far as like live action Jokers, like Heath Ledger is pretty iconic, and I do think that he does the sort of like dangerous, unpredictable wild card very, very, very well.
It's a movie that I go back and I watch quite often because it's like, I hate to say comfort movie, but it just is so good that I could sit down and I watch it again and again and again. Like I said, a lot of these were based off of like what movies I also like enjoy, and that whole cast to me is very, very good. I'm a very big fan of Gary Oldman, who was the cop. And I don't mind Christian Bale. I don't have like a big yes or no about him. I like him as Batman. I think he'll always be Batman to me. Sure. But then when somebody says Joker, I will always go straight to that one in particular.
And it's interesting because, like, I think most people will say like Heath Ledger is like the definitive Joker against which all other Jokers are compared. But I don't think there's a Batman like that. Like maybe Val Kilmer, like Christian Bale's pretty popular. But you know, whenever there's a new iteration of Batman, I feel like every actor I either really like their Batman and dislike their Bruce Wayne, or really like their Bruce Wayne and dislike their Batman.
Like Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson came close. I think
I didn't love it, but again, I get stuck on one thing and I think a little too attached to Christian.
Sure. I think he got screwed over by the writing of Bruce Wayne. I don't think the writers of The Batman did Bruce Wayne justice. Because he like a lot of that movie. I know we're on a tangent about a whole other movie right now. But a lot of that movie is like, whenever he's Bruce Wayne, it's people being like, wow, you're so detached. You're a millionaire. What the fuck are you doing for this city? And in the comics, Bruce Wayne actually like, you know, he gives a lot to the rebuilding of Gotham, partially because he blows it the fuck up, right? But just the movie just kind of ends, and he's like, Gotham needs me as Batman, and I'm like, okay, but they also need a Bruce Wayne. But and
Decided coin.
Yeah, that's a whole other character though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
continue your next one.
My next one,
the second one, right? Yeah. It's 2 for you or 3 for you?
This is my third one.
Okay.
That was, don't worry, because my first one was 2 glitches of our software ago.
So true.
Okay, so this is a tough one. Do you want a serious one, or do you want my meme one?
I will tell you my last one, a bit of a meme. It's true, but it's a bit of a meme. So I'm curious to hear.
Okay, mine is the unrelenting passage of time in The Notebook. So, The Notebook, beautiful story.
Yeah.
But I feel like the villain in that movie is time.
I mean, it is.
They die of old age in each other's arms. He spends a year writing
fucking like I don't even know what the fucking word is that I'm looking for, but okay, I like it though. No, I continue.
Excuse me for my liberal arts degree here. And he spends a year writing the letters, and she doesn't get the letters. And so that was my meme answer, was just time. Time kills all heroes.
Oh my God. Speaking of time, hold on. Yes, because I agree, because I think at the end of that movie, when they're laying it, if you guys haven't seen The Notebook, I am not spoiling anything. Okay, because I was about to spoil
It's like a 30-year-old movie.
Yeah. Especially because like the end, when he like climbs in bed with her and they both like die together, basically.
Yeah.
And like it's oh God, that movie.
It's a beautiful happy ending.
It's the whole fucking movie is beautiful. I love that movie, which has Rachel McAdams. Sorry, I'm having a mild moment of realizing how many things I have going on in my mind. I'm trying to decide right now which one I want to go with. I just watched a movie called We Live in Time with Florence Park.
Pew.
Did you watch it?
I have not seen
Yeah,
it. It's the top of my list.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I loved the ending. I thought it was very I thought it was very beautiful. I thought it was very like artsy. Like you had to really like think about it. My husband was like, that was stupid. I didn't like that ending. I was like, what? I was like, did you not take a moment to realize what just happened and how like what they did and how pretty it was though? There was a lot of components coming together. As somebody who doesn't like you have theater and all this stuff, and as somebody from like who has nothing of that, I like really took a moment to appreciate how good that ending was and like what they did there and bringing all these components together and making it just like very interesting to me. Very, very good movie. I really enjoyed it.
I intend to watch it because like it came out last year, and the year before, one of my favorite movies was Past Lives, and I was like, oh, this is the Past Lives of 2024, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
So good. Sorry, it just made me think of that. I had seen it and I didn't bring that up earlier. But speaking of Rachel McAdams, in The Notebook, my last movie,
hey, iconic. Honestly, iconic.
Literally. Okay, but I was sitting there.
Or the bus that hit Regina George, you know?
Like, or the bus, sure, yeah. But I was like, man, what an ode to all the bitches as like high schoolers that were so mean, you know?
Were you a mean girl in high school?
No, I'll be honest. Me and my husband actually just had this conversation the other day because I was like, where do you feel like you laid in, or where did you feel like you lied in like the like popularity of our school? And we were talking about it, and I think I was rather kind of somewhere in the middle, if I'm being like honest with myself, because I grew up in a very hick country town. So the popular kids were all the kids who like the big trucks, they all wore camo, nothing like the Regina George. Okay.
Sure.
Like most likely the girls wearing skirts in all pink were actually probably part of drama, if I'm being real. Like, so here's the thing is I grew up with a lot of these quote unquote popular. So I knew a lot of them, but I didn't hang out with them much in high school. A lot of the time that I spent with them was when we were in elementary school. So like I knew the popular side. The other side of it was I also did all 4 years and being a TA, being a teacher's assistant in drama. So I knew the entire other side of the school too. So I had drama friends. I had like the quote unquote popular friends. But then I got made fun of a lot because I did ROTC instead of gym. I didn't want to do gym. I had a brother, military. I am so proud of him. He was my absolute fucking hero up. I remember going to see him do ROTC things. So I was like, I'll go into ROTC. Fucking mistake. Let me tell you that. That was not a fun time wearing that uniform every Friday, but whatever. So like I quite literally had friends all over the school.
Sure.
Luckily, by the time I got to high school, I was not getting bullied anymore because I did a bit in like middle school. But
I got
by the time
bullied.
I was in high school, I was fine.
A lot.
Oh, I hate that. For anybody and everybody, like it's just so fucking ridiculous. But so Regina George being like this, like the mean girl who ends up getting hit by a bus. And she just is. I love Rachel McAdams. God, I love her. She is one of my like top crushes in Hollywood, and I think just that whole movie is so interesting. It like the dynamic of high school, and it's very nostalgic, I think, for most like 90s, early 2000s kids. And I'm like, what a better meme-ish villain than good old Regina George.
She's great.
She's fetch.
She is fetch.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Mean Girls the musical?
No.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Karen in Mean Girls the musical is my favorite character in any musical ever.
Okay.
They just really like ratchet up like how just dumb she is, and her like she has 2 songs that are like, or 2 sections that are kind of like solos for her, and both of them are just so iconic. Like her Halloween song for her Halloween party is the best. That's all I'll say. I'll send you some clips.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know if I'll sit through a whole musical,
No, but
but
I'll send you the two clips you need to
okay,
watch. Anyway,
okay.
okay,
On
so
to on to games.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It
So
was really hard not to do like big name ones. I drew a fine line of trying to not just be like, what are like the ones that everybody thinks I'm
like
gonna pick.
Ganon,
Yeah, exactly.
Bowser, yeah. I okay, I'm gonna start with a villain that like, and I think games, because there's a lot of villains that kind of just like show up at the beginning and then the end, and the whole game is the journey to go get them, right? Like classic
Hmm.
Bowser, right?
Yeah.
But this villain is present in every second of the game and is so like for me memorable, and the writing is so good. And that's GLaDOS from Portal.
Okay. I've never played Portal. It is on a list of games that I want to play though.
It's
It's supposed to be amazing.
honestly that would be a very good palate cleanser because it's only like a few hours and it's like a little
Yeah.
puzzle game. And it's definitely one that you like can kind of like only half pay attention to, but her writing
Hmm.
is so funny. And I won't spoil it, but you know, she is very like the game is very good at like making you do certain things that then she gives you shit for, even though like you have to do it for the puzzle.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, and as the game goes and the world of this of Portal sort of unravels around you, um, she becomes more and more sinister. And then they end the credit song from Portal is one of the most, I think, iconic credit songs in any video game, called "Still Alive." Um, and I would just say that like when I think of iconic villains, one of the things that like for me, especially for video games, is like they really do have to cast a shadow over like the whole game, and I think GLaDOS
Hmm.
really does that in a really interesting way.
Okay, okay. That does make me interested and more like interested to also play. Especially if you said like it's a bit shorter kind of like
Oh yeah.
game.
Oh yeah, you
Um
could probably beat it in like 3 or 4 sittings. Like
yeah,
just
okay.
like you yeah.
I'm gonna go with one that is honestly the more like obvious choice for me, and because I like I said, like looking through these, Ganon came up often. He's like the
Sure.
biggest known villain, you know,
I think
and
he's
I
the
was like,
most
you
boring Zelda villain too.
a little bit. So I started like thinking of like some of the other Zelda like villains that I enjoyed.
Mhm.
Um, And I'll be honest, my first thought was Zant, but I was like, nope,
Ooh,
there's one. Yeah, there was one that I kind of I looked at a lot that I love, and it's got to be Skull Kid.
from Majora's Mask?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's such a good not Ganon.
It is a good not
Um,
Ganon.
you know, that is like if like you're looking at like the Zelda universe and you're like, yeah, okay, like obviously Ganon is the, and this one was very interesting because it is. If you play all of them, you see Skull Kid
Mhm.
so far early. Like you see him in Ocarina. Find him in the woods playing his little flute. You know, he's all alone. And even then you get these like bites of like him being, I'm alone. Do you want to play with me?
Yeah.
And as you play through, you know, that through Majora's Mask, you get this like whole story of like him just being this kid who's alone and nobody wants to play with him, and how that turned him into a villain, and how like sad it really is. But it's one of my favorite
And the giants didn't want to
villains.
play with him. They left him alone.
Yeah, exactly. And then he has Tattle and Tail. And like again, like there's a moment where like they split and he's so sad because he lost like his two best friends because he's got these two fairies and one of them's gone. They get separated.
Mhm.
And it's like it is this whole story about how being alone sometimes like will villainize you because again, you're getting like bullied
Yeah,
and then you get sucked into this like darkness. Realistically, let's face it, the real villain is the fucking happy salesman's mask, or
absolutely.
the mask that he sells him. But I don't know. It's very interesting, and he is a very interesting. That fight also gave me a fucking run for my money. If you don't do the whole like collect all the masks, get the deity the great deity, is it great deity?
Great deity mask.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, that helps you. I remember playing it again.
Or Fierce Deity Mask. Fierce Deity Mask.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. I played it again on the Nintendo 64, or not on the Nintendo 64, the yes.
3DS?
Yeah, I want to say like 8 or 9 years ago, and I did not go get all the masks, and I quit. I was like, "Fuck this! This is stupid. Can't finish it. I'm done."
Oh my gosh.
It's a tricky boss fight.
See, for
So
me,
just like,
like that part of Majora's Mask, like you haven't beaten it until you got all the masks. So I like, I
I
don't
did
know.
not go get all of them.
I can't remember the last time I didn't use Great Deity Mask in that fight.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if it escaped me that that was a thing when I played it, or maybe I really just didn't know it was a thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I love the Skull Kid. I don't. But my escape key is it's a little mask. It's like a resin button that actually our buddy Bruce got me for my birthday a few years ago. Um, and so yeah, it's just the first one that came to mind. If I was like, I'm not going Ganon in the Zelda franchise, I'm picking Tolkien.
Yeah. This is not one of my answers, but I briefly thought of like what Zelda bosses, I would, because I've been thinking about Zelda a lot for other reasons. And I actually thought of Girahim as like the one I was gonna pick for Zelda if I went that way.
He was on the list that I looked at too.
He's a good one. Okay, so this character comes from a franchise with, I think, two really iconic villains, maybe even three. But because I picked GLaDOS in the first as my first villain, I'm gonna go with Andrew Ryan from BioShock. And
I had a feeling that one was coming.
And this is partially because you haven't played BioShock, so I can't talk about the other villain in BioShock. And this is partially because System Shock, like, is like Shodan is also like a sentient AI that like taunts you through the whole game. But I just think GLaDOS is funnier. But Andrew Ryan, you see him through like advertisements throughout this whole game, right? And very, very seldom does he actually talk to you, right? But you just kind of hear about him, and you see the effects that he's had on this city and that you're traversing through. And then when you finally confront him, even though you like kill him, he very much wins that exchange. And it's the scene where you confront Andrew Ryan, I think, is one of the most iconic scenes in any video game.
Okay. I can appreciate a game or a movie where it's like, because like I feel like Ganon, even so, like you see him, he's around through so much of the game, so it's very obvious who the villain is. I can appreciate a game where it's like it's more like hearsay. Like you know the name, you know who it is, but you don't see them and you're not fighting them until the end.
There's a few moments where you'll get like trapped in a room and then he'll be like talking to you from like the overcom. But most of the game is just sort of through, because the way that BioShock works, most of the storytelling is through like audio diaries that you find and sort of just environmental storytelling. So you learn a lot of lore about this dude, and he looms large over the first half of this game.
Okay.
But I won't talk about the second half, but when I think of like just villains that sort of loom large, and even though he's not as present as like a GLaDOS, I don't know. I would say that he deserves a spot on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your number 2?
Okay, so World of Warcraft has been such a staple in my life. I literally have been playing this since I was like 12 years old. So I started to think of like, okay, some of the big names that I saw, because like obviously like there's some really cool ones. Like
Sure.
if you like look at World of Warcraft, you see like the Lich King. He's really cool. He's blue. He's got a
I
huge
thought that's
like
who you're going to go with.
skull like
Arthas or
head.
whatever.
No, I thought about it. Another one that I went through was like there's lady like Windrunner who is like she's just really really cool. She's an elf. It's like a long story of like the Battle of Azeroth is where she comes in and like her. I think the idea of it, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, is you don't really know she's evil until like later on.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that I was like, you know what, this like part of the game made me stay and play WoW for a very long time because I am one of those people who like I'll play for a few months and then I won't play forever and then I'll come back and that's all I'll play for a while.
Yeah.
And that was the Jailer. So I played Shadowland a few years ago when it first came out, and it was one of the times where I played all the time.
You
I was
streamed it, didn't
playing.
you?
I did. I streamed it because that's all I was doing. I was just purely playing that one. That expansion had me hooked. And the Jailer, I just thought he was really kind of cool. Like if you look at him like as like a physical, like the way like they designed him, I thought he was very interesting. But his whole thing is he lives like in what they call like the Maw, and he's taking souls, and he's basically like trapping like you find out that like he's trapping a lot of like the big names in the game. Like basically down there with them. So like you have like all these like heroes that are down there that you're trying to like bring back to life or give their souls back because he's just trying to like he's getting souls to the bigger and badder kind of situation.
Sure.
But I always thought he was very interesting. The more that you play and you like, I liked the way he looked and just like the idea of him. And like I said, Shadowlands as an expansion of itself was interesting. And so I know it's a very simple answer.
No.
But literally that was it. I was like, this one captured me. I liked the whole like going down there and having to save heroes so he doesn't devour their soul. Mm-hmm. And I played so much of that. People are always like, what's your favorite one? I was like, I will always go back to Shadowlands because that was the one that I almost actually finished the entire expansion that time.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Whereas like Battle of Azeroth, any of the new ones I've been so meh about. But that one, I actually was hooked in his story and what was going on.
Okay. I've never played WoW, but
World of Warcraft people hate me. There's no chance. I don't do dungeons. I literally go in. I hardly pay attention to the story if I'm being honest. That's why I don't know a whole lot about him.
Sure.
But literally I go in just to do like the most simple fucking tasks. And then I'm like, okay.
That's fine.
Here we go.
That's fine. I briefly considered a different Blizzard iconic villain in the Queen of Blades for this list.
Okay.
From StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my third one is actually a villain that you play. Okay? This is a game where you are unequivocally, absolutely, you are the villain. All right? And it is a villain you can find in real life, terrorizing people. I've been terrorized by these villains. All right? You can find one on my sweater. I am talking, of course, about the goose from Untitled Goose Game.
Goose Game? Yeah, that's where I thought you were going with that. That's hilarious.
You spend the whole point of that game is you're terrorizing the English countryside as a goose.
That's so funny.
and when I lived in a city called Dartmouth, downtown Dartmouth, there is a pond that they bring in like geese just to like, I think they have clipped wings, like they can't fly, but they actually kind of look like the goose from the sweater, Clarence. Yeah. And they walk around, and every year someone gets attacked by the goose. And like if there's been times where I've been stuck in traffic because the geese have decided to like hang out on Ochterlony Street and just won't move. And I briefly worked in a theater that was like close by to this park, and we were like loading in a set one day during like the summer, and we had the doors open because it was 1,000,000 degrees in the theater. And the geese walked into the theater, and the tech director was just like, yeah, just don't talk to them. Don't look at them. Don't touch them. Don't come near them. They'll leave. And they just like walked around the theater and then left. So that game has a very warm place in my heart. And I can't think of a more iconic villain than a silly little goose.
Because you've had a actual bad experience with geese. I won't go near them. Hell no. It's my husband. not okay. There's two different types of bird, but he also doesn't fuck with chickens because when he was little, bad little kid. He was like he'll tell you the story the same way. He's like I was naughty. He's like my mom told me to wait for her, to not go outside, wait for her. Well, she puts her shoes on, and he's like, and what did I do? I went outside, and a chicken fucking chased him around when he was like,
oh no.
yeah. He's like, and now he is absolutely petrified of chickens. Kind of funny.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I talked so much iconic villains, and I'm gonna say his name wrong because it's been a while since I've played. But this is an iconic one that I saw a few times, but not enough. But I saw it and I was like, oh my god, that's right. That was a good one. Which was Dr. Robotnik.
Dr. Robotnik?
From Sonic.
From Sonic?
Yes. Dude. So good. It's like what I think of, like sometimes I think I forget about him. And then I'll think of like playing Sonic as a kid. We had it on the Nintendo 64. I'm trying to think of what else I had it on. I had it on the GameCube too.
Mm-hmm.
That motherfucker up in the air and having to jump up and hit him was such a pain in the ass. But it's like what I think of sometimes when I'm like, oh, that's right. Like you're thinking old school good villains.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Sonic movies?
I haven't. No.
Not have I, but Jim Carrey.
Is he in him?
Yeah, he's played by Jim Carrey.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. What a good person I feel like because he's kind of funky. He's weird.
He is weird. But and like what's his deal? Like is he like kidnapping animals? Isn't that what he does? So like every time you beat him, you like save the animals of that world or whatever.
Yeah. So it's just one of those ones that I'll be honest, I saw it on the list and I was like, okay, it's not a Bowser, but it does remind me of my childhood a lot. And him just being this funky little guy. And I remember him giving me so much trouble as a kid because I was young when I played those. I haven't played Sonic in forever. It's been a while. But getting down to the boss fights and him being the boss and it looking back and being like an angry child trying to defeat that boss is hilarious to me.
I respect it.
Yeah. You got one more, right?
That was all. That was all three.
Oh, dude, let me go back and tell you all real quick some of the ones that I had way more of these for movies. Games, I had a hard time picking game ones. Those ones, I didn't realize how troublesome some were going to be.
My only other one for movies was Men from Women Talking. But that's a villain that you don't see because the whole movie is about them deciding to leave before the men come back to a town. Great movie.
You don't see him, you just hear him.
Great movie. Incredible acting. I loved it. But certainly not a joke that I think most of our listeners would get. Okay, continue on.
Alex messaged me. He was like, I thought about doing blah blah blah, and that was it. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
It's a great movie.
It's like you just have that your little theater self. Sometimes I can't keep up.
It's not a theater thing. It's a movie.
Oh, or movies. The other ones that I had on there.
From Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, great fucking villain. I think he's cool as fuck. First of all, they did a great job for a movie that came out in like 2009, I think 2010 possibly.
Yeah,
amazing CGI in that. Again,
I would have thought of Barbossa for Pirates of the Caribbean from the first one.
Okay, so that's a very similar conversation that again me and my husband has. But the thing is Barbossa ends up being the good guy later on. Because I thought about Loki, and my husband's like, "You can't put Loki on there."
Why not?
Because have you seen the show?
No.
Okay, well,
I gave up on the MCU after after the shows started coming out. I can't remember which show just killed it for me.
Oh, Loki's a good show though. That was really good. We enjoyed all of it.
I watched the first two episodes.
Well, then you wouldn't know that I can't put Loki on there. Yeah, no, can't. Can't put, the other one was, and this was really fucked up though, because that's why I also didn't make it. One of my top ones was Scar from The Lion King. But because realistically, he killed his brother.
Yeah,
it's kind of fucked up.
That's kind of fucked up.
He's a very iconic villain.
Yeah,
like my childhood. There's a very similar feeling of the Dr. Robot. I can't say his name. My tongue doesn't do it. Of like thinking back of like being a child and what like struck you and things that you remember. Scar was just one of those. They kind of go hand in hand for me.
Were you one of the people who like See, I've talked. I know a number of girls who say that they had a crush on Simba when they were a kid. Were you one of these girls?
No, mine were very like I feel like mine, have you ever seen the TikTok where it's like the hear me out
Yeah, we should do
take?
that. That would be a fun episode.
That would be, and I'll tell you one of them, and people are gonna say that's not a hear me out, Lizzy, which is if I had to pick like I had a crush on somebody as a kid kind of thing like that, it would be Danny Phantom.
I don't know if that's a
Hey,
hear me
Danny
out.
Phantom.
I don't know
Huh?
if that.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's my point. Is like it's
That's
not
like
really
me
hear
picking
me
Kim
out.
Possible. It's like okay,
Yeah, okay.
but like she
What
go.
if I said Doc from Cars?
That's a good hear me out.
I feel like still it's not really. It is.
It's a car.
It's a car.
How's that not a hear me out?
But I feel like a lot of people would agree. Is my point.
Okay. Well, either way, we'll have to do this in a full episode because we are definitely over time at this point.
Yeah. So much. Okay. This was great. This was fun. I'm curious to see how people feel. We appreciate you guys per usual. We just passed a year. So shout out to all of you guys who have been supporting us. We appreciate you guys so much. Find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. And we're on Instagram. Don't post that often, but it's there if you guys want to follow along for when we do post like stories. That's typically when you can find when we're posting new episodes. But yeah, I think that's about it. Otherwise, I mean, I'm on Instagram for Loading Lizzy. Alex is not.
Not really.
We talk about this all the time that Alex is nowhere to be found.
I'm enigmatic. I just show up every 2 weeks. I meme and then I go back into the ether.
Yep.
All right.
But we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.